Welcome, fans of Total War Warhammer, fans of Fantasy Battle and the Old World. Today is a good day. CA, after 3 days of teasing us with signs from the heavens, have dropped the trailer that I think a lot of us were all hoping for. If you've seen it before, watch it again. If you haven't, sit back, turn off the lights, turn up the sound, and enjoy this. I'll be back in a couple of minutes to discuss it. See you then.
Death is like the winter chill. No door can keep it from us. And summer yet may bloom again, though ice be all upon us.
My child. There is so much to tell you that I have run out of time. The sacrifice I made was not enough. The dark gods still feed on our transgressions. Corruption. Obsession. Deceit. Rage. You must face these demons.
Well, there we go, ladies and gentlemen. I think this might well be my new favorite CA trailer. It is outstanding. You'll have to forgive the pun, but it gave me chills. Just seeing Zarina Katerin stood up there, summoning her ice magic with that gorgeous bloodthirster. Wow. Like, if you're gonna start a hype train, this is the way you do it. In terms of reveals, tons of stuff. Just there has been so much speculation over the last sort of 2 or 3 years since the second game came out about where the third game would go, how much of the world it would include. Was there even a chance CA would dare go after something like Cathay or Nippon or Ind, considering the world as it is at the moment? And I am so glad to say that not only CA have gone after doing a new human race in the old world after so long, but so have GW. Like, this isn't just CA going, hey, we're going to create something for our game. This is CA and GW together creating an entirely new human civilization race for Warhammer the Old World. And it will be part of the new tabletop version of the game, as well as Total War Warhammer 3. And so I'm excited for this, because this is This is something that we haven't had in a long, long time, which is a proper new race for not only the tabletop, but for the Warhammer fantasy world. So that's good. And not only that, it means that work will have gone into this. Like, GW are going to be launching their new version of the game alongside a whole new race that has not been in the game before. So they will want to get this right. And I really think that with CA's help and the involvement of everybody getting to this and the amount of time and effort that will have gone into it, and I've watched a couple of the community videos on it as well, I'm excited for Cathay. I think it will be an interesting faction. I think it has so much mythology to draw on that it could be a really exciting faction to play. The look should be absolutely phenomenal. Yeah, it's exciting. It really is. The other big reveal is that we're getting all 4 Chaos Gods independent of each other as races. A lot of people, myself included, were concerned that we would just get, like the tabletop did, and just get a Demons of Chaos with multiple Legendary Lords options. We're not. We are getting all 4 beating the hell out of each other, beating the hell out of the old world. This is so great. Like, this is everything that people were asking for from this game. And there is only, really, to me, one notable exception, and that is, where are the Chaos Dwarfs? Like, the map that is going to have to happen here, it stretches from Kislev on one side to Cathay on the other. Now, between the two of them is the Darklands. Like, literally, there is the lands of the Chaos Dwarves and the Ogre Kingdoms smack bang in the middle of what must be the Game 3 map. So I don't know if this is CA just saying, hey, this is our DLC plan, welcome to it, and we will get 2 races that are in the game as stripped down versions of themselves, kind of like Bretonia was when the first game launched. And then the first DLC will be, hey, okay, here is your Chaos Dwarf race pack, and then here is your Ogre pack as the next one. That might be what they do. However, they have also stated that the pre-order DLC is going to be a race pack. Now, if that's the case, and they're going to do this properly, now maybe it will be a rehash because it's a pre-order DLC. They don't want to it won't be huge, or it won't be a major race for the game. Maybe it is simply going to be the Empire for Game 2 rework, so that they're up to the same level as everything else that's being launched at the same time. But with this being Game 3, with it being their last hurrah, with it being the all singing, all dancing end to the trilogy epic that CA absolutely want this to be, there is a slim chance that that pre-order DLC could actually be the Chaos Dwarves. And they sit smack bang in the middle of the map, and that would be a way to get pre-orders. Like, that would sell the hell out of the pre-orders of this game if that's what they wanted to do, guaranteeing them full price for the base game from so many people. Whether or not that's what happens, that is purely speculation on my part. But if it doesn't, and we just have stripped down Chaos Dwarves, stripped down Ogres, and then mountains full of Orcs and Goblins, Skaven, and I'm guessing some Dwarves in the World's Edge Mountains, fine. Like, that's what we get. We will know that they are coming as DLC packs later on. Fine. Like, we'll just have to wait for them. But having said that, we are getting 6 races instead of the usual 4. And as quoted by CA's FAQ, 9 Legendary Lord option choices for the base game. So if we do the math, that's 1 for each of the Chaos Demons, 2 for Kislev, 2 for Cathay, and 1 left over. Now, it could be that Cathay is such a big launch that they just do 3 Cathay Legendary Lords for us, and we get a Master Mage, a out-and-out melee champion, and then some sort of hybrid monster champion or something different as the third. That might be the case. We may get 3 Cathay Legendary Lords. Or they may be very sneakily putting in Chaos Undivided. And we get Be'lakor as the granddaddy of the demon princes, with the ability to recruit across the demons and from the original Chaos rosters and we get a proper Chaos Undivided option as well. Now, whether or not they hype that and that's the DLC race pack, I don't know. It could be that's how they're working this, but I think we're fairly sure a lot of the legendary lords are going to be fairly set in place for this. In terms of Kislev, it's pretty obvious from the trailer. We're going to have Tsarina Katerin as the caster legendary lord for Kislev, and most likely Boris Boka, or Boris Urson, as he was later known in his life, as the melee legendary lord for Kislev. Cathay, obviously, we don't know. We're gonna find out. That will be like their constant revealing small bits over the next few months of how they're developing Cathay, what they're gonna look like, who their legendary lords are gonna be, things like that. And then we come to Chaos. I think a couple of them are fairly likely, a couple of them maybe less so, and one I just have no idea. So the one I think is the most likely of all of them is Kugath Plaguefather for Nurgle. He is the greatest of Nurgle's greater demons. He is the most storied, he is the most talked about, he is the most well-known. He just makes the most sense. So he's the one that I think is the most bolted on and likely in this situation. After that, I think the next most likely is probably Scarbrand, the exiled one for Khorne. He used to be like the most exalted of the Bloodthirsters, and then he effed up and Khorne exiled him, and he now roams whatever planes he feels like, murdering in his god's names, trying to win back favor. I think that it fits with the theme of everything that's going on. It makes a lot of sense. And he's the most storied, the most talked about, the most well-known of the Bloodthirsters. So I think that's a likely one as well. On to the Lords of Change. Now, there's a few options here. Obviously, we've already met Sartorial. Awesome model. Love playing as him and against him. Whether or not he just gets translated over, I don't know. They could do it. I don't think people would mind, but at the same time, I think there might be a little disappointment, and I think CA might be trying to go above and beyond. So I think we might see someone else brought in. Now, the other character that we've already met is Azric the Maze Keeper. He's been in the story, he's not been in the game. So it could be that we get him as the legendary lord. Now that the grand final plan is finally in motion, it may be that he rises up to lead Tzeentch. Or we may get the one that I'm sure everyone is hoping for. He was an absolute nightmare to play against on the tabletop. His model is cool as hell, and that is the Oracle of Tzeentch himself, Kairos Fateweaver. Now, this guy's two-headed Lord of Change model, his access to all the spells in the game, he is so unique and so awesome, and he would be so different from the regular Lords of Change you recruit that I would love if CA just went all in and just said, you know what, we're doing him. Like, make the model work. Beyond that, there's not really too many other options. There's a couple of named ones that might be around, but since CA have categorically said this isn't the end times, I think we can kind of reduce ourselves down to those three. In terms of Keeper of Secrets for Slaanesh, your guess is as good as mine. I don't know any. I hadn't really heard of any. I went looking and I found Nakari and Slivox. Like I say, they're not names to me. They're not really storied. It's a tough call. Like I think CA and GW might have just invented a character for this one. It kind of would make sense to do so, to give Slaanesh a bit more story. They're kind of the most like unspecialized of the Chaos faction as well. Khorne are the frenzied berserker, in your face, no magic, beat you to death with your own spine. Nurgle are the, come over here, we're going to grind you into a slow, tasty pulp, and you can't hurt us, kill us, do anything about us. Here, have some gas. Tzeentch are the lightning bolt you to death, whatever you do. Magic, magic, magic. And then Slaanesh are just kind of like, yeah, we're okay at all those. Like, we can run over and kill you with beautiful swordsmanship, or we can magic you with beautiful magic, or we can grind you down with beautiful monsters. And it kind of do a bit of everything. And they've not really ever seen the same kind of story love that the other three have. So I don't know what they'll do there. And then obviously with Cathay, Games Workshop and CA have carte blanche. They can make these characters from scratch. So hopefully they'll be exciting. Hopefully they'll be a lot of fun to play. They've got so much to draw on from Chinese folklore and heritage, and even as far as like Mongolian folklore, Mongolian heritage, and into the northern parts of Tibet and Nepal and things like this. There is so much there that they could draw from. But obviously, the ancient Chinese mythology, the dragons, could be so exciting and interesting as in terms of faction and gameplay and things, both tabletop and in the game itself. So yeah, as I say, really love the trailer. Very interested to see what happens in terms of the map and this promised race pack pre-order DLC, to see what race that is. I think a lot of the original races will make their way in it. Orcs and Goblins and Skaven are basically everywhere. And then if you take the map down from Kislev, you're also going to encompass Empire, Dwarves, Vampires. Considering start positions, maybe High Elves, Dark Elves, Lizardmen, Khemri. Especially if we end up getting Neferata in this final DLC, the Silver Pinnacle, which was added in the last DLC. You've definitely got a Vampire there for Game 3 as well. And then, like I say, you got this big chunk of the middle of the map, which in theory should be Chaos Dwarves and Ogres. So we'll have to see what they do there. The races that are harder to get into this are definitely High Elves, Dark Elves, Lizardmen to a degree, and then Bretonnians and Wood Elves. And obviously the Border Princes kind of are on the edge as well, I guess. But yeah, Bretonnians, Wood Elves really are going to struggle. I guess Wood Elves, you just put a magical forest in Cathay. I guess you're good with that. But Bretonnians, yeah, tricky. We'll see. The only other thing that, I mean, it's nothing to do with the trailer video, but it is something that I'm definitely interested to get an answer to over the next few months, is what they've done with the engine. Is it an update? Is it a new engine? Because the current Total War engine, like Warhammer has stretched it to its absolute limits. It really has. Like, they've done a phenomenal job with it, considering where it came from in the first, and like, this is the Rome 2 engine. It's time for a new one, CA. It really is. There is not much more you can do on this engine. As we've seen from the most recent games, like, the games are suffering now, especially the battles, which is such an important part of Total War in all the games. With the most recent Troy, like, the campaign's great. Like, it really is. But the battles are terrible. Like, they're the most unsatisfying things. And that's not just because I'm coming from Warhammer, where the battles are actually very satisfying. They're just bad. And the engine either needs a significant update where you can really focus on things like mass, size, angles, charges, individual movements, and really update the engine, or it just needs a new engine. And I hope it's a new engine. I hope that's why we've had a 3-year gap. I really hope that's the case, and that's what we've got coming, or at least a big update to the engine. CA want this to be their like final opus, this epic game. I think it needs it. I genuinely do. And I think from what we've seen, like, this is everything that we've heard in this FAQ and in this trailer is great news. Like, we were worried we'd get just one Demon's race. We've got 4. We were worried we'd never see Kislev fleshed out. We've got Kislev. We were worried they wouldn't dare go for the Eastern Empires that we've never seen yet. And yet, Games Workshop and CA have come together and done that. It's all good news. I just hope that with the maps and the engine, we get more. We continue to get this good news, and we continue to see that CA are going, like, this really will be the Total War Warhammer game. And when we get that final map, a few months after release, probably, we can sit back and say, yes, CA, you fucking nailed it, as well as they've nailed this trailer. That is my hope. I will definitely keep track of everything for you. In the meantime, I'm going to be doing more Total War Warhammer 2 content. We'll be looking forward to this last DLC. My main focus in Total War Warhammer 2 will continue to be showing off mods and modded games, and probably some videos on how to start modding your games. Not creating the mods, but how to go about actually selecting what mods you want to use and getting them into your game and avoiding crashes and conflicts and things like that. So that is going to be my focus for the next few months, along with other new strategy games and games in general. But I will continue to keep track of Total War Warhammer 3. Obviously, it's been on all our radars for a long time, and we are finally getting some news. Hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, like and subscribe for future content. If you've got comments for me, ideas for me, or you just think I'm downright wrong, please feel free to comment and discuss. Hopefully see you again in the future. Look forward to more Total War Warhammer 3 content. See you next time.